Hello friends, in today's session what we are going to see is how to implement a navigation drawer on top of the view pager. Now I can show you what we have developed till now. So this is a view pager implementation. This has three tabs: search, cart and quick order. Now this has been implemented using fragments. The three fragments are my search, my cart and quick order. And if you want to have a look at it, how we have developed that, there are a couple of videos in the same playlist. I would request you to go ahead and have a look at it. Now what we are trying to implement is a navigation drawer on top of the view pager. Now if I do a swipe from the extreme left to the right, you will see that there is a navigation drawer which is opening up. So this is what we are going to implement. And in the navigation drawer, we have an expandable list view which will display the list of the categories. And if you click on any one of the categories, you will see that the list expands and shows the list of the subcategories. And if the user selects any one of the subcategories, it will take you to an activity where we will display all the items which are there in that particular subcategory, and the user can then add any one of those items or multiple of those items to the cart. Now this is basically an alternate search methodology that we are giving to the users. The first one being here in the search fragment, you can directly write the name of the item that you want and we will display the search results here. But if you want to browse by category or subcategory, we are giving you this provision of the navigation drawer and the expandable list view. Now let us understand how we are going to implement this. The first thing is the XML file for this home screen, which is the activity or the fragment activity which houses the view pager. Now let us understand what changes we have done. Now previously, because it was just a view pager, this was the only piece of code which was there. Now because it is implementing a drawer layout, so this is how we have defined it. So we have first changed the layout to a drawer layout, and then the drawer layout has two basic widgets. One is the view pager and the second one is the expandable list view. Now this expandable list view is what will house the category list. Okay, this is a very simple change. We have changed the layout to a drawer layout, and we have kept one of the previous widget which was there, which was the view pager, as it is, and we have just added one more widget called expandable list view to this XML file. Now the next thing that we need to do is go to homescreen.java, which is a fragment activity with respect to the navigation drawer. Now before we go there, I would like to bring your attention to two other objects or classes that we have created. Now these are the two classes which have been created to hold the list of categories and the list of subcategories. So one is category.java, the other one is subcategory.java. Now in category.java, we have two fields which are there. One is the category name and the other one is the category code. And we have just implemented some methods here, which is set cat name and get cat name, set cat code and get cat code. We are going to use these to basically populate, to either save the details here, to either save the details of the category inside, or to retrieve the details of the category from this particular object. Now we have created a similar object for subcategory, and here we have two fields here, subcat name and subcat code, and we have written similar methods: subcategory, set subcat name and get subcat name, set subcat code and get subcat code. And these are basically nothing but custom objects that I have created, which we are going to use to retrieve and store the list of categories and subcategories. Now coming to the home screen.java, let us see what are the changes that we have made. First of all, we have initialized the variables draw layout, action bar, draw toggle and expandable list view. These were not there previously, so we have initialized these. And also we have created three array lists. One is called a category name, the second one is a subcategory name, and the third one is subcategory count. Now as you can see that the category, this first array list category name is of object type category, and this is what has been defined in this category.java. The second one, subcategory name, is an array list of array list. The reason is that for every category there will be multiple subcategories. So that is why it is a two-dimensional array list that we have created for subcategory. And here, as you can see, the object type is subcategory, which has been defined in this file subcategory.java. And the third one is a subcat count, which keeps a tab of the number of subcategories which are there for each category. And this is just an integer array list. Now moving on, the content view has been changed to layout.activity home screen, which is this. And then view pager is one of the elements in that. So we have initialized it and mapped it to this variable r.id.pager, which is there in the activity home XML file, as you can see here. And then the rest of the code here remains the same. This is the previous implementation of view pager. Let's just scroll down to the place where we have implemented the navigation drawer here. So the first thing we need to do is map the variables draw layout and the category list to the view elements which are there in the XML. And then we have set the adapter for the expandable list view, which is m category list, to a custom expandable list view adapter that we have created. And what we are passing as parameters to this custom expandable list adapter, which we will see down, is the activity, the category name which we have already loaded, the subcategory name, and the subcategory count. Now one thing I forgot to mention is that here we have defined a method which is getCatData. Now this method is populating these three array lists: category name, subcategory name, and subcategory count with the category list and the subcategory list. Now let us quickly have a look at this method. Yeah, here it is. Now as you can see that first we are clearing the existing category name array list if there is anything, and then one by one what we are doing is we are just populating the category names to this particular array list. Okay, and then similarly we are doing the same thing with the subcategories, and we are adding these subcategories to the array list subcat count and the subcategory name. In both the cases, we are in one we are actually putting the names of the subcategories, and in the other one we are keeping a count of the subcategories within each category. That's it. It's a very simple function or a method which achieves this for us. Okay. Yeah. So going back to this, inside the on create method, let's come down to where we were. Yeah, here it is. So we have set the adapter for the expandable list view, which is there in the navigation drawer. And then what we are doing is we are also putting a animation element here, which is the drawer shadow. And this is one file which is there in the drawable HDPI, which is drawer shadow. And it just gives a some basic animation of a shadow once the navigation drawer is pulled out. Even if you don't do it, it doesn't make much of a difference, so it's your choice. The next thing that we are going to do is basically to enable the application icon. Now if I can take you back to the application, you will see that there is an application icon here. Now what we are doing here is that if you click on this button, it is going to toggle the navigation drawer. Okay, so to enable this functionality, we have to do these two, we have to call these two methods, which is set display home as up enabled and set home button enabled. Both of them should be set to true. Okay, then the next thing is with respect to the expandable list view. One is the method for group click, and the other is a method for the child click. So first let's have a look at the method for the group click. Now what we are doing is we are calling the set on group click listener method, and we are overriding the on group click method inside that. Basically we wanted a functionality that at no point of time two groups should be expanded. So what we have ensured here is that if the same group has not been selected, then the previous group which was already expanded should get collapsed automatically. So what happens is that at one point of time only one group will be expanded, and if the user after expanding one group tries to expand the second group, the previous group will automatically get collapsed and the new group which the user has selected will get expanded. To demonstrate this, let me show you the application and it will make more sense to you. As you can see, the biscuits, snacks, and namkeens. This is one group which is expanded. Now, the moment I click on grocery and staples, you will see that biscuits, snacks, and namkeen has got collapsed, as you can see here. So this particular functionality has been implemented here. Okay. Now coming to the on child click listener, what we are doing here is we have again overridden the on child click method, and here we have the child position and the group position both. So what we are doing is that based on which subcategory has been selected, we are retrieving the subcategory name using the group position from there, and then we are using the group position, which is the name, which is the position of the category, to retrieve the subcategory name, and then within that we are checking the child position to get the subcategory code, and we are passing this as an extra parameter to the intent, and we are calling this class called catwise search results dot class, and we will have a look at it in a few moments. So basically it is going to call the new activity where we will display the search results. Okay. So what this method is doing is that if you click the app icon, the navigation drawer is going to open, and if you click the app icon, then the navigation drawer is going to close. So this particular method implements that functionality. So if the drawer is closed, this method will get called, or if the drawer is opened, this method is getting called. And in both the cases, we are going to invalidate the options menu so that the options menu gets created again. Okay. So the last thing that we have done is we have set this particular method as the listener for the drawer layout. So whenever there is any action with respect to opening or closing of the drawer, mDrawer toggle method will get called, and these two will get action based on whether it's a closed condition or whether it's an open condition. Now these methods were already there with respect to on create options menu, on tab selected, on tab reselected. We have not touched these. So this is one new method that we have implemented on options item selected. Now this method defines what happens when you select any one of the menu items. So for example, here we have the menu items like this: login, history, and settings, right? So this defines what should happen if you click on login. Now if you click on login, this method will get called, and here we are supposed to define each of those methods, and if it is login, what should happen, if it is order history, what should happen. Right now we have not defined any of these functionalities, so that is why this is blank. What we have just to add is this part, which is that if the options item selected happens to be the navigation drawer. Now a navigation drawer is also a type of menu item. So if the item which got executed is a navigation drawer, then what we are doing is we are exiting out of this method by returning a true and basically not doing anything else. Okay. Now another method that we have implemented is on post create. So this is basically to synchronize the state of the toggle of the navigation drawer after a restore has happened. Okay. Now moving on, we go into the expandable list view adapter which you have created. It's a custom adapter, and it extends the base expandable list view adapter. Now remember that the parameters that we have passed are the context, then we had the array list of categories, and then we had the array list of subcategories, and then obviously we had the array list of the subcategory count. Now we have defined internal variables here, and the constructor method that we have written, which is this one, is basically mapping the parameters that have been passed to the internal variables. Okay. Now let's look at the methods which we need to override. Here in get group count, we have given the category name dot size. In the get children count, for the group I, we have taken the subcategory count dot get I, which will give you the count of the subcategories for that particular group, which is I. Now here on in get group I, we have basically got the element ith element of category name, and then we have used the method get cat name to get the name of that category. Similarly for subcategory, get child for I and I1, where I is the group and I1 is the subgroup within the group. First of all, we have used a array list of type subcategory, and we have basically got the subcategory name ith element, which is the group number, and then from the temp list we have got the I1 element to get the subcategory. Now get group ID is I, get group, the child ID is I1. Now coming to get view, yeah, here we have just used that if the view is null, then we are inflating it. If it is already inflated, then we are not going to do it once more. And then the text view is the subcat desk one. So let me take you to these two XMLs. So we have defined two XML files. One is for the expandable list category.xml. This is the layout of how the groups are going to look like. Okay. So here we have only one field, which is text view, which is cat description one. Then the other XML file is the subcat. So this is how each of the subcategories are going to look like in the expandable list view. So these two XMLs are required because you will be using these here in the expandable list view adapter. So we are inflating first of all, because this is a group view, we are expanding the expandable list view category, and we have mapped the text view to the view cat description one, and we have just set the text to the name of the group. That's it. Okay. Similarly for child, we have mapped the view to the expandable list view subcat, which I just showed you, and then again we have mapped the child subcategory name to the text view, which is there in the XML, and then we have set the text here to the name of the child, okay, which is the name of the subcategory. So this will ensure that um, the list of categories and subcategories get displayed properly in the expandable list view, and that's it. So we have not made any other changes here. This is the method which is to populate the cat list of categories and subcategories, which is get cat data, which I've already explained to you. Okay. Now the next thing that we need to do is basically the cat-wise search results activity. Now this is what gets called when you select any one of the subcategories. Okay. So this activity is exactly same as the search activity. So what is as a search fragment, which we have already implemented. So if you want to have a deeper understanding of how this has been implemented, I would request you to watch the video for the search results. It is exactly the same. The code will be available on semicolon, but I'm not going to go through it in detail. What it typically does is, based on the subcategory code which has been passed as a parameter, we are it is receiving the subcategory code from the intent. Okay, and then based on the subcategory code, it we are launching an async task, which is going to pull the list of items which belongs to this subcategory and then display it in a list view on this particular screen, and the user has an option or a button to add that item to the cart. So the last thing that we need to do is in basket manifest, which is the Android manifest file, we need to define the activity cat-wise search results, because this is a new activity that we have defined. And once we have defined this, we are good to go. Now let's run this. Yeah. So this is just an emulator that I'm using to replicate my phone screen. So if I can go to the cart, you will see that there are two items added here. So let me use these buttons here to delete these items. Okay, so now my cart is empty. Okay, now let me go here and click on this, or I can use my fingers to do a swipe, and the navigation drawer opens up. Now let me select packed foods and condiments, so that it now displays the subcategories. Let me select breakfast cereals. Sorry, I think I selected some other category, but doesn't matter. So as you can see, there is only one item which is there for this particular category, which is Kisan Maggi hot and sweet sauce. And there is an option for the user to add this item to the cart. If I click on this button, this item gets added to the cart. Now if I just press the back button, which is here, it will take me to the base activity, and you will see that in the cart this item has got added. Okay, so let me show it to you once more. uh, Now let's go to some other category like breakfast cereals. Okay, and it will tell you that these are the three items which are there in breakfast cereals. Let me add the third item. Now if I press it two times, it will add to quantity. Okay, now I go back and I will see that in my cart Kellogg's is available, and because I had pressed it two times, to quantity has got added. So this is how you can implement a navigation drawer on top of your view pager. The only challenge that I see here is that the navigation drawer does not overlap the tabs here. So I've done some research on this, and what I've found out is that this is the way it has been implemented in Android. This is the Android design issue, you can say. There is no way that we can implement a navigation drawer with a view pager with action tabs other than the way that this is happening. If you have to do it in any other way, we can do it using fragments. I am yet to experiment on that, so I'm in no position to comment on that. Thank you for watching this session. If you found this informative, please do subscribe, and do not forget to press the like button. And also the code is available on semicolon.blogspot.in. The link is available in the description of this video. Thank you.